All right, guys, so today we're gonna tackle the feet. Set the camera up here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So we're gonna go down to the floor here. We'll go ahead and kick off our shoes and socks and everything. I'm just gonna do 1 foot with all this stuff, but obviously you'll do this with both feet. So we're gonna take shoe and sock off, going barefoot. All we're gonna need for this is tennis ball, lacrosse ball, something, this size, and some kind of ledge. Like I'm gonna use this plate right here. First thing you're gonna start with, I'm not gonna do it just because I've done it in other videos and it's super easy to explain, is you're gonna roll the bottom of your feet. Roll the bottom of your feet with the ball, getting in there, digging in, getting in the arch across the entire foot. Nothing's off limits. You're gonna roll each foot for a good minute, minute and a half, getting on top of it and breaking up any of those tight areas in the foot. From there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to mobilize the foot. So if you wanna restore proper foot mechanics and everything, you need to get it moving well. So you need to break up all that stuff, but then we need to get it mobile. There's actually a lot of joints and stuff inside the foot. The foot is very complex. It does not get as much attention and stuff as it deserves. So actually we're gonna start with the toes. So we're gonna start to mobilize the toes a little bit. So what you can do, and I actually picked this up from Kelly Starrett. This is like a foot mob that he did and that I really liked. So you're actually gonna start, you're gonna get your hands dirty. So make sure you wash your hands after you're done with this, unless you're just getting out of the shower or something. But you're actually gonna get hands on with your toes here, and you're gonna be splitting. We're gonna split them in between here. I'll get a little closer so you can see. We're gonna be splitting our toes apart, going both directions. We're gonna do this down every toe segment, in between every toe. So you're gonna pull them apart this way, you're gonna pull them apart this way, and then you're gonna pull them apart this way, long ways. So we're gonna hit this, and you wanna try and get a 90-degree angle when you're hitting these bends here. So pull them apart, don't have to hold it long. Just hold it here, and then go the other way. And we're gonna pull them apart long ways, pull them apart, like gaping them like that, if you can see that. Pull them apart. What this is gonna do, and then we're gonna move down, and we're gonna do it for the next 2 toes. Pulling them apart, getting some distance here. So I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this video, and I'm just doing this all the way down to the pinky toe. You're gonna take your hand now, the opposite hand. So this is my right foot. I'm gonna take my left hand. I'm gonna wedge my fingers in between my toes, just like this. You can kind of see that now. I'm kind of like toe spacers. You're using your fingers as toe spacers. You're gripping them all the way in there, getting them all the way into the fingers, and you're gonna grip, make a tight fist. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna rotate the foot back and forth. If you can see how I'm doing that. Just rotating back and forth. Go for 10 to 20 passes here. You should see how much movement, if you can see this, if I can change the angle so you can see this, how much movement you should have in your foot. So I'm kind of bracing my heel, my foot off of my knee here, and I'm just getting on top of it, twisting back and forth. We're gonna hit this for 10 to 20 passes. So this is working the transverse arch of the foot, opening that transverse arch, which is super important for anything athletic. Being able to have that transverse arch operating properly is very important for being explosive and being athletic through the feet. So after we hit 10 to 20 passes, we'll take the fingers out, and then we can actually just grab the foot, and we're gonna kind of do the same thing and just wring it out, kinda. It's going back and forth. Being important that we're not moving the entire foot when we do this. The heel and the ankle portion should be remaining pretty constant. It's from that top half of the foot up that we're getting rotation through there. We're just trying to open that up there. So what we're gonna do from there is we're gonna try and get on top of this foot. So if you can see the foot here, the arch, so if your foot is just relaxing, a lot of people have collapsed arches. If you pick this big toe up, you should get some play in that arch. That arch should be lifting up some. If you can get a little closer here so you can see. So my foot's here like this. I'm just passively picking up my big toe. So I have pretty good arches, so you don't see a ton of change, but you will get some play in that arch when you pick up that big foot, or the big toe, I'm sorry. When you pick up the big toe, you should get some play in that arch. So in that big toe, when you get tension on that foot, you get a good, nice, strong arch, which is what we're after. But if you have no flexibility in this big toe, it's gonna prohibit your ability to create tension in the foot, and it's also gonna limit your ankle range of motion. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get on top of that big toe. We're actually gonna sit back on this. We're gonna put that big toe in the ground here. Try to get the big toe bent at 90 degrees. Don't force yourself into this. Get as close as you can. And we're just gonna put some weight on here and sit on this big toe and kind of open that big toe up a little bit and open that range up. But what you wanna do in this position, you just don't wanna passively sit here. So get in the position, get it set, and also make sure that when you're doing this, I don't know if you can see this, but make sure that you're staying straight, that big toe staying straight, and you're not coming off to the side like this. We don't want the big toe to come off to the side. We want it to be straight into the ground, and you're driving it into the ground from there. And that's how we're sitting on this guy. So making sure that it's straight into the ground. We don't want that angle. That angle's gonna create issues. So we're putting weight on here, but we're not just passively sitting here. I want you to actually drive some force through the big toe and push that big toe into the ground for about 4 or 5 seconds. And then you can kind of relax it a little bit. And you just gonna do that for like 3 or 4 sets. Doing a 4 to 5 second push into the floor and then relaxing it. And it's gonna help kind of open that up a little bit. Now don't go into extreme pain here. Like you don't want to stretch into pain. You know, if you can't get that quite to that 90, then stop a little bit short. Stop where you're feeling the stretch. I mean, maybe your knee's up here. Maybe you can't get that knee to the floor yet. That's fine. You'll just do it from here. And you're just gonna hit. Here, I'll lower the camera here if we can see this a little better. So maybe you can only get this far and you can't get that knee all the way to the floor. That's fine. You just stay here and you're just gonna do the same thing. All right? It's all about where you're at right now. And the more you do this, the better it'll get. So you're just gonna create that tension from here. Push that big toe into the floor, 4 to 5 seconds, and then relax it. You can even, bounce in and out of ranges of motion here like this. It's all about slowly progressing this along. All right, but you're gonna hit that. And after that, you should have some nice, good range of motion. I just like to keep wiggling the toes all around. You just spread the toes out and try to just move them all independently of each other. Getting good movement like this through your toes will work wonders for your foot. All right, so we got the shoes back on. And obviously everything we just did there with the foot, you're gonna do to both feet. You're gonna do them to both feet. Let's set the camera up. Now we're gonna go back to our lacrosse ball. Same one that we rolled our foot out with. Like I said, this could be a tennis ball. But now we wanna start to bring some more strength. So we did those isometrics on the big toe. Now we wanna start to incorporate kind of the whole foot, but also more importantly, that transverse, getting that transverse arch into play and getting the rotation and pronation aspect of the foot going. So you're gonna take this ball here, you're gonna set up on your ledge for a calf raise. So standard calf raise, we've all done calf raises before, you're just coming up and down. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this ball and we're gonna put it in between our heels back here. And we're gonna do our calf raises while having to maintain pressure on this ball. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna force, instead of just doing a straight calf raise straight up and down like this, it's gonna force you to drive through that big toe side to keep pressure on the ball as we come up. So it's gonna really force us to drive through the big toe side, that ball side of the foot, and pronate the foot while we do the calf raise. If you can see that. So I'll set up here. We're gonna set our feet up, getting the balls of our foot right off the ledge, the step, whatever you're gonna use, and we get that lacrosse ball right back in between the heels. And now I wanna squeeze that ball together as I do the calf raise. That's gonna force me to drive through the big toe side of the foot and pronate the foot as I come up. So you can do this with straight legs. You can also do this, you can slightly bend the knee. Bend the knee a little bit, it's good to do both. So I'm gonna bend the knee and do the same thing. It's important to do these nice, slow and controlled. Make sure you're getting full peak contraction at the top, full stretch at the bottom. And really quick too, guys, before I end the video, I just wanted to add that doing things barefoot, doing your warm-ups barefoot and bodyweight exercises barefoot can help as well.